All right, folks, we are back. We have had some very disappointing issues. Um, I think we had a two-part disaster there right before our final pairs of the men's thousand, which we had been hyping up all morning. I think we lost internet for some reason, and so that shut us down. And then when we kind of got back up, I believe somehow we had our wires crossed with the stream that's going on in Salt Lake City, and then that shut us down. So I did record the thousand, I believe, on my machine here. So at some point, I'll try to show that to you guys as well. But boy, talk about anticlimactic to get to those last pairs and lose our stream. Jordan Stolz did skate a 107.15. I know we were talking about will he get the world sea level record there. He was actually just, at least on the scoreboard, 600ths of a second off of it. So 107.15, he was ahead of it with a lap to go, um, but just barely off that last lap. So I also look for the official results at some point. But anyways, on to our next event. We have Rebecca Simmons and Greta Myers. This is our lone pair in the 1,000-meter. 12 and a half laps, 3.1 miles. And tip of the cap to these young women for going out here and getting a good practice race in. We don't have any team selection implications related to this. There are no 5,000 meters at World Cups 5 and 6. And our world championship spot will be determined based on what's called the special qualification ranking list, which uses the World Cups to pick the world championship team. So essentially, this is a training race. But with that said, you get to call yourself the U.S. champion in the 5,000 meter at the completion of this race if you win the race. So that's a nice little caveat along with it. Greta Myers has been setting several junior national records this year, 1,000, 1,500 meter. I got second earlier in the weekend in the 3,000 meter. Mia Kilberg placing first in that race. But 35-1 for Greta on that lap, 36-9 for Rebecca. I know as I talked about earlier, the lap time should be pretty accurate here, but our overall times have been a little bit off with some of the final times. Okay, 34-7 there for Greta, 36-7 for Rebecca. Looks nice and relaxed from what I can tell here. I know we talked a lot about in the men's 5K, really trying to be disciplined and controlled and holding those even lap times, not fading too much in those last 3 to 5 laps. And to me, that's really where the race is won. But I can definitely relate to, if you're feeling good and you're hitting those middle laps, boy, it's just hard to hold back. But that's really where you need to be disciplined and control that energy expenditure because it's going to cost you those last 3 laps. And, that's where you can really win the race. So 34-9 for Greta again, keeping it right around those 5.0s. See if she can maintain that. If she does 5.0s the whole way with a 20-second opener, that's a 7:20 last lap, or I'm sorry, a 7:20 final time. Which puts her right in striking distance of her personal best. Again, 34.8. 34.8 on that lap time. Rebecca Simmons coming through, 36.7. A quick peek what Greta's personal. Yeah, Greta 7:16.50 is her personal in the 5,000 meter. That was in Salt Lake City. So if she's just under these fives, that is right where she needs to be for a personal best. See her coach there on the backstretch, coach of Jordan Stoles, Carl Tatelli, and Dylan Woodbury, Bob Corby, based here in the Milwaukee area. Again, a 34.6, 36.9 for Rebecca. Again, 34.9. Very nice for Greta. They're about, what do you say, 200 meters apart right now. Try to get a little bit of footage of each athlete here. Rebecca, 36.8, so she's keeping her lap times nice and even as well. $34.8 as Greta came through. Rebecca Simmons with a personal best of 7:45.11. That's actually from here in 2018 in Milwaukee. Here comes Greta. Bell lap now. 35.2. A slight drop there. Let's see if she can bring that back down into those 34s. Greta with her final corner. Get on those blocks, keep the distance. An honest 5,000. Greta through with a 7:21.61. About 5 seconds off her personal best. See for Rebecca to come around here. Here she is. And that is a new personal best. Congratulations. Give her the old U.S. Speed Skating personal best. Congratulations, Rebecca. Now we're coming up. We're going to have two pairs of men's 10,000 meter. I believe we have a single pair in the first pair with Casey Dawson. Jonathan Tobon originally was going to skate it, but he has removed himself from that race, and it should be a lone pair with Casey. I know Casey has his sights set on a track record here. I do believe it's 12:17. Let me just quick check that. Let's see, it's speedskatingresults.com. Track records, men. Yes, Track record is 13-17-28 by Jonathan Cook, December 18th, 2011. So no offense to Jonathan, one of our great distance skaters, but let's see if we can't get that off the books. Time to move on. Speaking of Jonathan, he's been skating in Salt Lake from time to time. I believe he lives in California, works there in robotics, I believe, but comes out to Salt Lake sometimes and skates a 1500 on the weekend. I know last time we did the 1500, he went under 150, 149. So still in good enough shape to do some things like that. There's our referees, our chief referee, Dave Okanowski. Is that Mark Nolan next to him? One of the other referees. Thanks for the sub. So they're doing a test shot here for the men's 10K. Let me just see if I can pull up those pairs for you quick. And we only have two pairs. I think the next one is Ethan Sepron and Kellen Dunphy. Both had great 5Ks. Kellen earning a position on our World Cup team here in this winter. Skated a fantastic personal best. But yeah, first pair, Casey Dawson alone, and then Kellen Dunphy and Ethan Sepron in that final pair. Following this, we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to do some team pursuits. Had a quick question there from Sam Carroll, the person that helps keep me organized with all the apparel and stuff for our junior teams. Just checking on some funding times. We do have times that need to be met in order for U.S. Speed Skating to pay your way to World Cups or Junior Worlds. Really try to set appropriate times that are good targets for people. So as you're coming up through the ranks, you can really try to chase specific times and work in your training to hit those specific times. You know, I know sometimes it's frustrating when we just miss those, but boy, um, you know, when people set their sights on things, they can sure accomplish a lot. So uh, that's why we have those there. But here we are. We're about to start our men's 10,000 meter. And let's see what Casey Dawson has in store. I know I was talking to on the stream last time about how he gets a little bit ambitious sometimes in the middle of his races and then ends up fading off a bit. We'll see how he does here. I know I was messaging with his dad, and I think his dad threw out a few incentives for him to try to keep those lap times nice and even. And let's see. Does Dad have the key to Casey Dawson keeping even lap times throughout? If so, we're just going to have to continue to recruit these tactics by his dad, Mike Dawson. But great family, super supportive of U.S. speed skating, and talk about going through some trying times last year. I don't know if you heard Casey's story going into the Olympic Games, but he unfortunately had COVID early in the month of January, actually, and had recovered, but could not pass the test. So was able to continue to train that entire time leading up to the games, but wasn't able to get into the village. So he actually was not able to compete in the 5,000 meter, which was one of his best races. And then once we get him there finally, after all this rigmarole, what kind of word rigmarole is, but yeah, we finally get him there, and they lose his luggage, and we don't have blades for him. So unfortunately, Harold Steeloves had the same kind of blade setup as him, because our other guys didn't. The backups that we did have weren't the right size. So he was able to show up basically the day of his race, put on someone else's blades, and compete at the Olympic Games in the 1500 meter. And while obviously he was a little tired hopping off the plane and doing that, I mean, the guy didn't, you know, even wince at getting out there and competing at the games. Just threw him on, went out there and did his absolute best, and then turns out with after a few days after that, wins a bronze medal in the team pursuit with an incredible performance. So you talk about resiliency, yeah. Probably learn a few things from Casey Dawson and what he went through with his experience there. Um, Being able to just come out and win that medal in the TP when we were really, really counting on him. He's been the diesel engine in our TP, so we couldn't afford to lose him there and think we were going to contend for an Olympic medal. Casey started in the Park City Speed Skating Club. Used to work with Catherine Rainey Norman, I believe, as one of his original coaches. And if you guys know anything about U.S. speed skating, Catherine Rainey was one of our top distance women at U.S. speed skating. Still holds the 3,000 and 5,000 meter national record. 5,000 meter, I believe it's a 6:56 she went. And I don't know that we've ever had another woman go under 7 minutes. So she is our lone person. So hopefully we can find some other athletes to erase her name from the record books. Again, no offense to Catherine, but I know she also shares the 3,000 meter national record with Mia Kilberg. But how cool is that Casey was able to get his start working with, you know, an elite athlete like that who was willing to give her time to help coach that club up there, give back to the sport, and can you ask for a better mentor than that for what is now turning out to be one of our great future distance skaters? Cool how the stars aligned for that. See in the backstretch there, Ryan Shimabukuro, our sprint team coach, holding the lap board there for him. While Gabriel's a little bit further down, that's his the main coach that he reports to. But it is a team effort here at US Speed Skating. And we try to collaborate as much as we can to find areas to challenge the athletes with the different qualities that they have, either speed wise or endurance wise, to just try to provide the optimal atmosphere for training for these guys. And sometimes we hit the mark and sometimes we don't, but we try to keep learning from it, improving each year, improving our communication with each other. But I think the commitment to team is one of the things that we want to continue to thrive. And seeing these junior skaters come up through the ranks now, really have a good, strong feeling about their commitment to being part of a U.S. team, what that means to represent the United States of America in an international competition. And quite frankly, I know I'm excited to go to the Junior Worlds this year, and I know these young guys are gonna and girls are gonna represent our country well. They're a bunch of class acts, good parents around them, good mentors. So really exciting future for U.S. speed skating. And while Casey here is a senior, he is still a neo senior and going to be a big part of our future in distance skating here in the U.S. as well. You can see 31.8 there. Still somewhat early on, getting to the midway point of this race. So it'll be interesting to see, like I talked about, if he's feeling good, how hard will he press? Will he be able to maintain these lap times and be disciplined, not give too much too early? 31.6. You know, a lot of times skaters want a pair, but I think Casey's one of these unique individuals that has an ability to just zone in. I don't know if it matters for him as much to have a pair in the 10,000 meter. I know it's fun to to kind of go toe to toe, have someone to chase. But Casey's one of these guys I think can just he when he gets in his zone, it doesn't matter if someone's out there or not. He is just going to execute his skating, zone in, and just go fast. I mean, there's definitely those other types. I feel like that. I mean, if they don't have someone out there with them, forget about it. You know, they can't seem to keep focused unless they have someone else out there to kind of race against. Then there's some people that you're paired with that you don't want to go head to head with because they do have that attitude that they can do anything if they're paired with somebody and get those. I mean, Chad Hedrick comes to mind. Boy, there was a period in his prime where you did not want to be head to head with Chad Hedrick. If you wanted to beat him, it seemed like you had to beat him in a different pair. But if you were head to head with him, he was going to get you, especially in his prime there. I think even the other skaters were intimidated to be going toe to toe with him. But if you could hopefully beat his time in a pair where you're not with him, that was probably your best opportunity there for a couple of years. So Casey, 31-4, slight drop. Be good to see him be very controlled in this build. I know some people give this 10K kind of a hard time, like, oh, it's not that exciting to watch. But I'll tell you what, I think some of the most exciting races I've ever seen have happened in the 5,000 and 10,000 meter, especially at an elite level. I know some of those Olympic games when you're just watching and the tension just continues to build and build and build of, they're on the winning time, they're on the winning time. Can they maintain that time is super, super exciting. I can't understand how sometimes a somewhat low quality 10K when the people aren't that close and it's not that competitive can be a little monotonous, but boy, when it is a high level, closely contested race, I don't think there's much better than a 5K or 10K. Sometimes those 500s just happen so fast, they kind of leave you wanting more. $31.2, brought that last lap down. Let's see what he comes through with here. Casey is also, I believe, still doing engineering at the University of Utah. So he takes some classes there, I believe just part-time now. I think we actually have 3 engineering guys on our long-distance team. Casey Emery Lehman is also an engineering student. I believe he's working on his master's or PhD now. And Jonathan Tobon, one of the young guys that just moved out there, I believe he's also on track to do something in engineering as well. Mike Dawson, his dad is an engineer, also works with U.S. Speed Skating on our Sports Science Commission, helping to build out special projects to try to find some advantages here. So shout out to Mike. I believe he's watching at home as well. Oh, our camera guy fell asleep there. 5 to go now. 31-2. Very nice, keeping them even. Oh, we lost our. I'm looking on the backstretch and my camera guy just left. I just left. So I'll have to see if I can get someone else to run over there a second. Could still get something there, but here, let me quick send a message. Casey getting some cheers there. I do believe there's a school group from Jordan Stolz's school district that was going to come out. Oh, Finn says, is he skating with the wrong armband? He sure is. Yeah, he started on the inner. Luckily, as I mentioned before, in the U.S. speed skating rules, we don't disqualify for something like that for a first offense. They'll receive a warning. So it shouldn't have any bearing here on him getting losing out on a time here. So 31-7. Let's keep those sevens now. Oh, last lap. Sorry, bell lap. So, yeah, here we go. Track record 13-17. He is going to be under that. Very nice. 13-14 on my unofficial sports graphics here. So that is a track record. Even if we're off a little bit with the timing, that's a track record. Thank you, Jonathan Cook, for setting the mark so high, giving this talented young man something to shoot for. But now the track record does belong to Mr. Casey Dawson. Congratulations, Casey. Nice pickup, Finn, on the armband, man. That's impressive. Thank goodness we changed that rule so they don't get disqualified and lose their time. Because we have redundancy in our timing systems. Not so much in our live stream as if you were watching earlier. Not much redundancy there. If something goes wrong, you step on the power cord here, you're gone. But we do have three timing systems. Yep. Jeff just also confirming that was a track record. So here we go. Kellen Dunphy, Ethan Sepron. Still trying to get someone on that back stretch there for the camera. But at least we can get the straightaway portion. See if I can't message our high performance director. So Casey and Ethan, Emery Lehman, especially in the 5K, have really been pushing each other these last few years. They started training together all together about 3 years ago, and really have raised the level of men's distance skating, and especially with the team pursuit. So they have really upped their game. Okay, I asked Shane to maybe go over there too and do the backstretch camera. As I mentioned earlier, Kellen too. Geez, what a year he's having. You could see the buildup just happening these last couple of months. He had some good performances coming in. I know when I talked to him after his 5,000 meter too, he just said, "Hey, the race I really want to do well and is coming up yet." So he's one of these guys. The longer, the better. I think background in cross country skiing from Minnesota, but yeah, you gotta find these guys that are willing to embrace this distance. and it can provide some opportunity in the U.S. It hasn't traditionally been, um, a marquee event in a way, not something that people target. So if you wanna make that yours and make that your goal, there's definitely some opportunity there to make some international teams. But really great to see what Kellen has done this year. 634 in his 5,000. Got a funding time too, so doesn't have to worry about funding his own way to the World Cups. I have someone standing here wanting to ask me a question, so I'm gonna take that. Hold on, I'll be right back. We're starting team processing here, so a few people asking some questions about certain things, and so, but I'll try to keep my focus on the racing here. Got some shout outs in the chat for Kellen, Robert Schmitz, Kellen Dunphy fan. So Ethan holding those mid ones as well, similar to what Casey did. I'd say traditionally, Casey's been the one that's a little bit faster in the 5K, or I'm sorry, 10K. While they go back and forth a bit in the 5,000 meter. I know Ethan has skated some big races in the 5,000 meter. Um, Winning at our Olympic trials last year. Had some really good ones in the fall this year too. Managed to get up into the A group, which is a goal for these guys, and we'd like to see them be consistently in the A group in the next couple of years and start to close that gap on those international skaters. Even more than placement, I try to remind these guys too, like, don't worry, sometimes the placement's going to look good. It'll be top 10. Other times it won't. But what's our margin between who's winning the medals right now and where we're at, and what can we set our training parameters at to make sure that we are completely comfortable hitting the lap times that we need to hit? And it's just a process too. You know, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So. Okay, I think our backstretch camera went into sleep mode. I think hoping Nathan Miller here is running over there to try to wake that puppy up, and so we can catch that backstretch here on these last races. 31-2 for Ethan. 32-3 for Kellen. One 4 for Ethan. It's showing him in first place. I don't know if I completely trust. I do believe he's probably under Casey's time at this point. At about 4,800 meters. Ethan with a 31-4 again, listing him in first. Before it was showing that they would what their time was below or ahead of first place. It's not showing that right now. Yeah, it could be incorrect. I'm guessing because Kellen is showing us second too, and I don't believe he's ahead of Casey at this point. But Ethan Sepron, 11 laps to go, 31-2. Kellen, 32-2. Nice, solid race. So far, can they maintain these times? And, you know, the question is for Ethan, can he maintain this pace? Casey did a pretty nice job. I think he ended on a 2-0, 1720, if memory serves me correctly. But is Ethan going to spoil the Casey Dawson party? He is setting up to do so right now, so we will see. Kellen with a 32.4. Good consistent lap times there, just like his 5,000 meter. He was just straight across the board with those lap times. 9 laps to go, 1-1. So he is under the pace of Casey Dawson right now. Kellen, 32.4 again. I know I've heard our long distance coach once just say copy and paste. Copy and paste each lap. That's right where you want to be. Copy and paste. It's the first time I heard that from a speed skating coach while someone was going. 31.2 for Ethan. He is dialed in. 32.4 for Kellen. This is good, solid racing right here. Now we really need to maintain that technique. It's really easy to get twisty and shifty off those pushes. Having those pushes go backwards, just less efficient. 31.1. Maybe this is the home crowd advantage for Ethan. Ethan grew up skating here, saw his family here earlier, his brother, his nephews. So he wants to put on a little show for the family and some of the friends that came out here to the Pettit Center to watch him. 30.9. Okay. Kellen with another 32.4. Just a machine out there. All right, let's see. Can Ethan keep these 30-second laps? 30.9, he does again. This is where, in a way, you almost wish Ethan and Casey were together, but it's also exciting to just see, can they each kind of do it on their own at this point? I know Kellen's on the other side of the track right now, and by no means is he having a bad race. 32.3 on that last lap. Ethan with another 30.9. I'll tell you what, this guy knows how to hurt. There is no doubt that this man is not afraid to push through the pain. When he zones in, I don't know if there's anybody better at pushing through the pain. I think the big key here now for Ethan is, can you maintain that efficient technique? And 30.7. 32.4 on that last lap for Kellen, too. Wow, this is a very entertaining race. Gosh, I know Kellen did some different things with his training this year. I've seen him on that bike at the Utah Olympic Oval so much this season, just biking on his own. I've seen him doing so many laps on his own this year, really kind of fine-tuning his pace for the race that he wants to excel in, and it is paying off. 30.9 for Ethan there. Boy, this is a heck of a race for both men. Ethan with a 1-1. 1 lap to go. He is going to crush the track record. Helen through 32.7. Ethan Seprin coming through 13:09.06. Huge track record. Here goes Kellen coming through with an incredible time as well. His personal is a 13:39.58 from Salt Lake City. He is going to get a personal best as well. 13:33.80 for Kellen Dunphy. That's a personal best. Awesome job, Kellen. Some high fives on the backstretch for Kellen as well. Wow, what a race. 13:09.06. Beating Jonathan Cuck's track record by 8 seconds. Following up, seeing what Casey Dawson just accomplished with a track record and bettering that by 5 seconds. This is exactly what we need to see from these distance guys. You know, I know Casey's probably fuming a little bit. Like, doggone it, if I could just maybe been toe-to-toe with him. Could have hung there. Who knew we had to go that pace? But again, it'll be good motivation for Casey to come out next time and reclaim that 10,000 meter. So we're going to take a little break now, and then we're going to come back for a couple of team pursuits. We don't have a whole lot going on. I think it's one pair of women. We'll have our senior women doing a team pursuit along with some of our junior women, and then two pairs of men's team pursuits, and those are all just junior boys. So take a quick break now, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, we're back. About to start the women's team pursuit. Actually, mixed myself up earlier. We're going to have 2 races here. Starting on the finishing straight here, we have Elise Stavey, Finley Descartes, and Evie Forer. And on the crossing straight, which is also called the backstretch to most of us, Leah Choi, Natasha Gakovic, and Nasi Radulovic. So we're doing a 6-lap team pursuit. For those of you that aren't familiar with this, you take the time of the 3rd place skater. So the first 2 are irrelevant in the sense of timing, but the important part is that you stay together, and what you're going to do is take that 3rd place time, and that's where they'll finish. So as most of you may know or may not know, there is a new tactic involved with the team pursuits where they don't do switching of the leads as much as they used to, or if at all. Primarily now, athletes are encouraged to just push each other, which definitely takes some skill and some practice. So I know Team USA started this a few years ago, and it's kind of taken the world by storm. Definitely think it's the superior way to do a team pursuit. You don't lose any time with those exchanges, and even beyond that, like a lot of times, most of the mistakes that would happen in team pursuit came during those exchanges when people were tired. So also when you do an exchange, you lose distance, and you have 2 people fighting the wind at the same time. So it's inefficient in that sense. So if you can learn how to push and skate efficiently, I think that's the way to go for these guys. So good to see these young juniors out here trying it in a race atmosphere. It is difficult to do. I think some of the top guys make it look easy. I think of someone like Mia Kilberg or Emery Lehman. Man, those guys make it look so easy. They tuck into that 2nd position and are just so natural still with their skating. But really, really impressive how they are able to do it. But this is a good chance for these youngsters to get out here and try it as well. Also, kind of a fun way to kind of close out their weekend. We don't necessarily have any teams on the line for this competition. Just a nice, fun thing to do with your friends and your teammates and get some good experience in this way. We'll focus on this group a little bit here, catch them down the back stretch as well. Leah Choi was moved into this group. I think our original pairings had her with a whole group of junior C's, but we had a couple of dropouts. A couple people didn't pass the equipment check, so they weren't able to race today. So Leah Choi stepped up and is going with a couple of junior B's here. Actually, Natasha is a junior A. But good on her to hop in there with the older girls and allow them to practice this race. Otherwise, they might would have been left with a twosome or something. So shout out to Leah for stepping up. And they finish in a 3:38.1, I believe that was their time. Hard to tell. And our final group, about 3:55 something there. So up next, on the finishing straight here, we have our senior team. This is actually the team that won a bronze medal at the World Cup in Calgary. Brittany Bowe, Mia Kilberg, Georgia Birkland. See there our two senior skaters and a neo. Obviously, Brittany Bowe, Mia Kilberg have medals in the team pursuit from the 2018 Olympics. And Georgia just won her first senior medal at the World Cup in Calgary, along with these two women. So an amazing performance by them. It was their first time doing the team pursuit in an international competition together. So it was great to see them walk away with a medal. It certainly exceeded my expectations, and I feel like usually I probably over predict what we're going to see. So that was really, really nice to see. But great that they can get another rep in here. We'll do another team pursuit. I believe it's World Cup 5. We'll have another opportunity to get a rep in. And then the beginning of March, we have our World Championships for team pursuit. In our other group is our junior group, Thalia Staley, Marley Soldan, Libby Williams here on the backstretch. So that's our junior group. All of them have made the junior world team. So good controlled start there. Obviously, Brittany Bowe is more the sprinter of the three. So starting conservatively, allowing Mia and Georgia to get on right away, and now they should start building into getting to that higher speed. It's our junior team. See if we can get in a rhythm here with our cameras, our two cameras. There's our juniors. Let's focus on them here in the home stretch here. So that's Libby Williams out front, Marley Soldan in second, Thalia in third. See Marley doing a nice job of pushing there. Really best to just keep that arm up the whole time. You can see Mia really, really tucked in there. And what we'll do with those skaters in third is they have the option then of how hard they want to push. Oh, it looks like Marley and them did the old school exchange, so we'll have to talk to them about that. That is unnecessary, in my opinion. You can see it almost even caused a cluster a little bit there as they made that exchange. So, but it's tough to gauge. It's almost hard to trust yourself being out in front there the whole time that you're gonna get the help that you need to be able to maintain the lap time. So, if you haven't done a lot of reps, you just need to build some trust in your teammates and gauge your energy expenditure. It is different than actually just leading yourself without any help. So that's just something that they'll have to continue to work on and gain trust with each other. Our women's team, our senior team, starting to catch our junior team here. Oh, and looks like they were, I don't know if they were trying to do another exchange, but you can see it's, yeah, they tried to do another exchange, and you can see the problems that causes. So we're kind of experiencing a real-time example of some of the mistakes that can happen with doing exchanges and the inefficiencies that are associated with it. While our senior women team, well, yes, they are more experienced and are in general just faster. You can see them motoring by as a one unit without having to worry about any of those exchanges or those mistakes associated with them. So going really, really well here. And looks like we're going to come through about 3:01. If I was to guess, 3 minutes, right around there. So a nice sea level time. Our junior women finishing up now. Some high fives there in the backstretch for our seniors. And our women through. Look what 324 or so, 323. So nice work by them. And that will bring us up to the men. We had a lot of changes here. I know I was talking about down to just one pair. I think this is actually what I was thinking about. So for our men, we have Team 2 on the finishing straight here. Looks like Sam Chamberlain, Max Weber, Ryan Olenek, and Zachary Jensen. On the crossing straight, William Silk, Carl Tatelli, Aiden Meacham, and Samuel Hart Gorman. 2 of those guys are on our junior world team. And those 2 Bs there, probably that's on their radar for doing that in the future. I know Aiden was up there getting close to that top 5. I know Samuel Hart Gorman had some really good races this weekend. But that's a good team there too. So like I've been saying, this is a good opportunity for these guys to get some reps in. Let's see what sort of strategy they adopt. I mean, I would hope we see pushing the whole way. But if they don't, we might see some examples of why it's better to learn that new tactic. Right now, I'm focused on that Sam Chamberlain, Max Weber, Ryan Olenek, Zachary Jensen team. I think 3 out of the 4 are from the Midway Speed Skating Club. Okay, let's see. We want to see one unit here. See one guy exposed in the back there. Want to make sure that front person is blocking the wind for all 3 guys behind him. So anytime we see someone peeking out of the side there, it's a dead giveaway for some inefficiency. And we are seeing that here. We got the 2 in the back. Lots of exposure aerodynamically. Something that these guys can work on. Obviously, not all of them have skated much together. So it takes a little bit to try to adapt to the person in front of you. And certainly if you're able to do those in some practice rounds outside of racing, that's going to definitely help. But credit to these guys for hopping out there and really trying to adjust their skating to their teammates in this race and making the most of it. So coming down here, we have Aiden, Will, Carl, and Samuel Hart Gorman. Like Sammy was just a little bit off there, trying to get back on. Here's the Midway group with a +1 in Ryan. Aiden, Will, Carl. Carl is the one on the junior world team out of that group. The others probably hungry for next year. Oh, thank you, Barb. Barb to the rescue there. Thank you. William Silk in the lead there. It's like they did exchange. Comes that William Silk group down the backstretch. Looks like they are continuing to work on their pushing, which is great to see. There's the midway group with Ryan. Hopefully they're communicating well with each other. You know, if someone's dropping off, you have to really be vocal. The other nice thing about pushing is you can feel if they're on you or not. Sometimes in some of these loud stadiums, it's hard. As much as you yell, you can't hear the person in front of you, especially when everyone's breathing hard. So really good to just have that sensory input there of being touched, so you know, all right, our group is together. Down the back stretch, this is our closing event for the day, our last pair for the day, and then we're going to be doing awards for our juniors, announcing our junior world team, doing some team processing. Always an exciting time especially for those that are getting their USA gear for the first time. See, we're on our bell lap. Will they be? Oh, now they're spreading out through their finish there. Okay, about 4:30 or so, I think. And now our midway group closing things up. Nice job, guys. Staying together, though. Hopefully communicating well. That is what it's all about. Makes a huge difference. Once you get dropped off, that team dynamic and your chances of finishing high are really kaput. So that's our closing race for the day. Thanks everyone for joining in. Appreciate all your patience with some of the difficulties there. I will try to go back. I do believe I recorded a couple of those last 1,000 meters, including Jordan Stolz's track record. Try to get that posted on YouTube later tonight so you guys can see that. Also post those lap times too in the comments so you guys can see that. Also, if you are interested, go to that Sportity app. I'm happy to share the link in the chat tomorrow and the password, so you can get all the information that the coaches and athletes are getting as far as pairings and results go. If you like that kind of stuff. But tomorrow we start at 9 a.m. Central. That will be for the mass starts. We'll have 2 mass starts, one senior women's and one senior men's. Juniors can do that with them. You know, we call it a senior mass start, but if you have the qualifying time, juniors can go in that event as well. So hopefully we have some good fun mass starts tomorrow, and yeah, we'll finish out our weekend with that. So thanks everybody. Appreciate you joining and the positive support, the patience. Hope we're having fun watching your family and friends out here, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. 9 a.m. Central tomorrow. Bye bye.